Hi everyone, Happy New Year. It's Todd from True Financial Coaching. My first video 2023, and I'm doing it on making financial resolutions, New Year's resolutions. So I've listed 12 things. Chances are some of the things on this list you've already done, it's accomplished, check. And other things maybe you haven't. And so the purpose of this video is really to kind of get you thinking about what are one, two, or three things that I can do with my money in 2023, so that at the end of the year I can look back and feel good about what I've accomplished. And if we can just kind of repeat that then every year, we're really kind of setting ourselves up for, I think, some good financial success. So I've listed 12 things. I'm going to run through them rather quickly. So number one, create an emergency fund. I've done a video on this before. I think it's really important. And I think of the emergency fund as kind of two buckets. So one is this kind of starter fund, which is really there to cover things like a car payment or insurance deductible, things that usually cost in the hundreds of dollars. So it's creating, like, call it roughly a $1,000 to $2,000 savings for that purpose. The other bucket is what I call bridge savings, which is really a few months of expenses that are saved up in the case that you lose a job and you're unemployed for a few months, and that you can tap into that bridge savings. So number one, create this emergency fund. Number two, 401k matching. If you're working at a job and your employer is offering you some sort of a match, you contribute to the retirement account, they will match it, either 50 cents on the dollar or dollar for dollar. If you're not fully taking advantage of that, so for example, maybe they're matching dollar for dollar up to your contributing 8%, but you're only contributing right now maybe 5%. Well, there's 3% more, right? That if you contribute your own pay, they'll match it, right? It's just free money that they're wanting to give you. Figure out a way to take full advantage of that match and get that free money. That would be a huge win in 2023 if you're able to do that. Number three, open a Roth IRA. So if you're working at a job, your employer's offering a match, please do that. And then if contributing beyond the match for retirement, you can do that in your 401k, but you might want to open up your own IRA and do it separately. And there's kind of pros and cons to both. Maybe I'll do a video on that down the road. But one thing to keep in mind with a Roth IRA is that there's a 5-year rule. So you can pull out any of your own money that you've put into the IRA at any time, but any earnings that the IRA has generated, you can't pull out until the account has been opened for 5 years. So if you think you might want to have a Roth IRA at some point in the future, it might make sense just to open that now. So have it a 2023 goal. I'm going to open the account and put $100 in there. I'm going to get that 5-year clock ticking. Well, I'm talking about Roth IRAs. I have 2 teenage kids. We recently opened up, or technically they opened up Roth IRAs. They're working part-time jobs, and just to kind of help get the momentum going and getting teenagers thinking about investing for the future, and that there's financial ramifications to things in life. I think it was good to just kind of get an account opened with them and put a little bit of money in there so that they can hopefully get excited about this for the future. So that's number three, open a Roth IRA. Number four, maybe the most important thing on this list, because it has a tie-in with everything else on the list, and that's creating a budget. As soon as I say that word budget, lots of emotions well up inside of us. Maybe you've successfully had a budget in the past. Maybe you've tried budgeting in the past and it just went horribly and you hated it. So it is so important, though, to be the one in control of how you're spending your money, how you're saving, how you're giving. Be the one making those decisions intentionally. And you can do that best if you have a budget. So if you struggle with a budget, I'd love to talk to you, because there's ways to make budgeting fairly easy, or at least easier maybe than what you think. So for example, one thing I encourage people who struggle with budgeting is, all right, come up with a budget. Let's talk about a budget process that would work best for you. Then let's just do that for 3 months. And we start to develop some habits in those 3 months and some intentionality in those 3 months that kind of carry us through now for the next 9 months. And then let's do it again. Let's do it again for the next 3 months and then kind of carry it through. And the more times we do that, the more years we repeat that, the more like you're just kind of budgeting without really budgeting. You kind of start to form the habits and the skills of budgeting, and you're only doing it for 25% of the time, right? So number 4, create a budget. Number 5, going along with that, reduce expenses. What can I do to cut $50, $100, $500 of expenses each month, and then take that money and put it towards debt or investing for the future? So the budget process oftentimes identifies things that you're like, wow, I had no idea I was spending that much on that item. So what can you do to pick a dollar amount and figure out how to reduce your expenses by that dollar amount? Number 6, start a side hustle. What do I know how to do? It doesn't take a lot of time. That at the end of the year, I can look back and like, wow, okay, I made $2,000, $5,000 this year on this side hustle, something I know how to do, I enjoy doing. So think about that. What could you do that will bring in a little bit of income with just a little bit of work? Number 7, be thoughtful about giving your money away. We contribute to our church, to charities that are important to us, to needs that we see around us. And sometimes it's just kind of haphazard, and I think there's actually some benefit to the haphazardness, but there's also some benefit to some thoughtfulness as well, and some intentionality about what we're going to do as far as being, generous with our money. So, can you think of some goals like, okay, I want to give towards this. I'm not contributing to my church. I want to do that. I'm not contributing to this charity. I want to do that. Or I want to increase what I'm giving. Or I want to set aside a certain amount of money for those instances where something comes up and like, oh, yeah, I can contribute $200 towards that cause. So be a little bit more thoughtful about, giving and being generous. That's number 7. Number 8, pay off all credit cards. Perhaps the most expensive form of debt that any of us will ever have are our credit cards. So what can you do in the budget so that you can pay off those credit cards and then be able to pay them off every month so you're not getting charged interest rates that are above 20%? Number 8, pay off your car early. A lot of people have car payments. So instead of the payment schedule saying I got to pay $500 a month, what can I do to pay $800 or $900 a month and get rid of that car payment early? Same thing with student loans. Number 10, what can I do to pay off those student loans faster than the schedule? If you're someone who has credit card debt, student loan debt, and car payment debt, it might be, okay, I want to, by the end of this year, I want to have like one of those accomplished. They're gone. And then 2024, I'm going to tackle, something else. Have a plan about getting rid of that debt. All right, 2 more to go. Number 11, save for a down payment. If you think about buying a house or upgrading your house and it's going to cost more money, these are huge purchases. And good news, we can only put 5% down and still get this massive asset. But that massive asset comes with 95%, then massive liability, right? Let's not do that. Let's figure out, okay, we know a year, 2 years from now, we're going to do this. Start saving for that down payment now. So when the time comes, you're putting 20, 25, 30% down and only mortgaging the rest. Then think with some of these other kind of big purchases, but not as big of a house, right? Cars, vacations. If you know you're going to be getting a different car in 2024, for example, what can you do in 2023 to start to prepare for that? So maybe in 2024, you get that car and you don't have to finance it at all, right? So start saving for these down payments or these bigger ticket items. And lastly, number 12, open a 529. If you're a parent, I think we all know how expensive and, perhaps ridiculously expensive how, college is. And maybe a goal for 2023 can be, I'm going to open a 529 account, which is kind of a tax preferred account for college, for education purposes. And I'm just going to open it. I'm going to start putting $20 a month into it. And then maybe 2024, I can increase that $20 a month to $50 or $100, right? And just getting that ball rolling is important. And really, no matter how old your kids are, doing that now could be beneficial. So anyway, that's my list of 12. I'm a firm believer in small steps taken consistently over time leads to great things and takes us where we want to go. So think about 1, 2, or 3 things on this list, or maybe you've thought of some other things or things came to mind as I was going through this list that would be helpful for you. If you'd like to talk through any of it, please reach out to me. This is exactly the kind of thing I love doing, is prioritizing this type of things for people. So Happy New Year, and we'll see you in next week's video. All right, bye.